I know you read the video title. I do. I know you read it. And to a lot of people, I've tried to explain this. To a lot of people, I've tried to get this point across. But because it's such a sensitive topic, because it's so difficult, I think we should give it its due diligence. In order to understand asexuality, we need to have a framework that we're working with, because it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. It can help to think of asexuality like any other sexuality. Instead of thinking about relationship with sex, let's think about it as relationship with attraction. At its core, asexuality is the lack of sexual attraction. That's it. Now, it's an entire spectrum, and asexual people may not be entirely ace. They may have different ways to express themselves, but the pure label is about missing that sexual attraction, not having it at all. And this means a lot of things when it comes to sex and having sex. It does not mean asexual people do not have sex, though many choose to abstain from it. It does, however, mean that the relationship tends to be very different than with allosexual people. Allosexual people are people who feel sexual attraction without many modifiers, and I know that you might not be entirely allosexual either. Many people I know in my life are something called demisexual, and what that means is in order to feel sexual attraction, you need to have some kind of close emotional connection with a person. Many people in romantic comedies, in life, do need to have that emotional connection. It is very technically on the asexual spectrum. Many people are demisexual. A lot of people are demisexual. It's really easy to understand, and so we're not going to be covering it. I'm sorry if you were waiting for the demisexual flag to appear right here. The main focus of today is going to be asexual people and gray asexual people. Gray asexuality is a difficult thing to define. Really what it means is it's complicated. It can mean a lot of different things. Normally when people use the gray ace label online, it's very explicitly saying, please don't make assumptions. The other thing to point out before we really get into it is that labels are only really useful on the surface. The places where the labels are no longer helpful is when you actually go to have an intimate relationship with an ace person, or become their partner without having intimacy. Their boundaries and your boundaries need to coalesce into something you do together. Your relationship with any ace person, should you get into the realm of intimacy, is going to be unique. Being ace is going to affect it. It's going to modify a lot. It's going to be important, but the label itself kind of stops mattering, and you have to figure it out for yourself. I would advise not making assumptions if an ace person is going to be intimate with you. I would advise asking and seeing what's up. Now, if you didn't read the content warning at the beginning, if you're just listening to this video is going to go very explicitly into some sexual topics. If that makes you squeamish or uncomfortable, I'd recommend not watching this one. The reason I gave that warning is because now we're going to talk about allosexual people and what sex tends to look like for them. If you are an allo person, this will be a review, maybe. When I talk about sexual attraction from the standpoint of an allo person, what I really mean is something about the way they present makes you feel stirring, let's say, and it turns you on, or it makes you want to have sex with them, or at least have sex with them in your mind. Something about the way they present makes you want to take them or have them take you. Something really gets you going, and it doesn't have anything to do with what their personality is. That can add to it, that can increase it, but it's based on presentation. Someone who is ace, who does not feel sexual attraction, often doesn't have as many preferences, or at least they don't affect who they end up being intimate with. They can still have aesthetic preferences in people they are intimate with, if they are intimate at all. But what tends to happen is that they don't get going because of that. when people who are not ace or otherwise feel sexual attraction tend to have sex, there's generally a linear path. What it tends to mean is that they're looking to climax or be stimulated in some way. The physical side of it is important, and it's almost always important. This isn't always the case. Allo people can have sex for a lot of reasons, but the general idea is to get off, or to get off together, or to get your partner off. The idea is that there's a path, an escalation, and a boom. It's like a volcano. And if you've had sex a lot with that expectation, you know sometimes it doesn't work out, and there can be some disappointment, there can be some expectations not met. So ultimately, being good at it is your ability to get your partner off, or have them be extremely emotionally fulfilled. It's your ability to follow that linear path. Now, when ace people have sex, the goal is often not related to climax. It can be. A lot of ace people I know really like getting off, and really like getting off with people. They don't have to, but they like it. But in general, the goal tends to be more varied. Instead of trying to follow the linear path, they're looking for something else. Closeness, vulnerability, exploring an idea, various kink things, some kind of comfort. I know many ace folks who don't climax at all, and they just like being close, or they're doing a favor for their partner and they don't mind it, or they just like it. It's pleasurable, it feels good, there's a dopamine hit. Now, if you know a lot of ace people, especially gray ace people who engage in intimacy, you may have noticed that a lot of them are the kinkiest people you've ever met. Hey there. No, I'm not gonna do the bit. No, we're not doing it. Nope. Alright, let's talk about kink. Kink in the public vernacular tends to be people thinking about foot stuff. It tends to be people thinking about bondage or restraint. It's some kind of modifier to having sex in some way. I would expect most people watching this, or everyone watching this, to understand that dom and sub dynamics exist, that bondage exists. 50 Shades of Grey was a bestseller and a worldwide phenomenon, and it's generally considered, a thing that people acknowledge at the very least. In allo spaces and in spaces that use the framework I talked about before, where there's sexual attraction, where the goal of having sex is to climax, it tends to be an adjustment to how people have sex normally. It tends to be a way that people get going. It tends to be something that makes sex more exciting for people or more taboo. It's a way to explore a lot of different things. And generally when people explore kinks in that context, they are looking to follow that same path. They're looking to have it be a modifier for climax. They have it as a modifier to pleasure. You can think about things like asphyxiation or ice cubes or going real deep with some objects, and these are all ways to change the sensation in some way, with the ultimate goal to make your body climax. Oftentimes, for anyone, kink can be a fantastic way to show vulnerability and comfort with a partner. It doesn't matter if you're following that linear path. The idea is that it's different and new and often very vulnerable. There is a bit of divide between fantasy and real-life kinks. Where real-life kinks stop and end at what we're physically able to do, fantasy goes all over the place. Within fantasy, you can explore so many more topics that are just impossible, but the concepts are so tantalizing to so many people. And kinks in all shapes and sizes generally deal with control, restraint, or taboo, with a mix of all of those things being very common. The main motivation for making this video is because I've had so many conversations with allo folks who don't understand that kinks can be non-sexual. For ace people in particular, kinks don't tend to require following that linear path. Sometimes they're not sexual at all. Sex can be non-sexual. And what I mean by that really makes the most sense through the lens of kink. So much of what I said before with the differences between allo people experiencing sex and ace people experiencing sex is the same with kink. And this is why I think kink within fantasy is the best lens to see this through. I think kink within fantasy is the best way to understand non-sexual sex. Because I feel like it's much easier to understand that some situations are just comfy or close or feel good. Let me give some examples. One of the most popular kinks, especially in the furry community, is vor. And very specifically, vor that isn't dangerous. Obviously something you can only explore in fantasy, but that doesn't matter. You don't have to answer any of the questions that you normally have to answer. You can just focus on the closeness and the sensation. It does get a lot of people going. But from a non-sexual standpoint, I don't think it's hard to understand a weighted blanket all over your body. I don't think it's hard to understand wanting to have permanent cuddle. And I don't think it's hard to understand wanting to create those situations for someone you care for. There's an inherent emotional closeness and show of trust and vulnerability to allow yourself to sit in fantasy where you don't have power anymore. And for someone like me who struggles to give up power at all, it can be very fulfilling to watch someone trust you in that way. It feels heavy. It feels good. I do need to point out once again that ace people can also just treat it normally. But for a lot of them, it isn't about that, even though it can be. There are many ways even very explicitly sexual kinks can be engaged with for reasons entirely outside of sex. There are many reasons why an ace person might engage with something. Now you may say, Cress, if they're not engaging with it sexually, is it even a kink? And to that I'd say, yes. And the reason is not all that complex, really. Kink is generally defined by a lack of normalcy, by the taboo, by the this is so weird and different. Kink obviously has a relationship with sex, that's how it's usually engaged with. But you can't tell me that me putting a collar and a leash on somebody and walking around with them, and it's not sexual at all to either of us, that it wouldn't get side-eyed or considered kink. Kink is often defined this way, and regardless of how the people engaging with it feel, it's often given a negative view by so many people. Way too many people. And that can be a real shame, because for a lot of people, kink can be a way to work through something. It can be a way to experience parts of themselves that wouldn't be safe to experience otherwise. It can be a way to work through trauma. Being asexual can often be related to trauma. Something or many things can happen that kills your interest, that makes you repulsed, that kills your sex drive in some way, that makes you not attracted to people. But I want to do this in one take. Something can happen that kills your libido or your sex drive, or those are the same thing, Cress. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it one day. Being asexual can often be related to trauma. There are plenty of ace people who are born that way, who stay that way, but there are things that can happen that kill your libido, that kill your desire for sex, that affect it in a lot of ways, and kink can be a way to explore that. But as I work through my own trauma, there's new things. new exciting things, and I wonder to my, I mean, I don't feel like, I mean, it's hard. I break down all the, but I'm still feeling new. I'm feeling there's still there's so much there's so much new that makes me question. But it's so hard. It's so hard to take that dive. It's so hard to feel safe. And I sit and I wonder. Being actual enough to related to. Am I even ace?
Um, Hi. You're not supposed to be here. Hmm. Do you want to take a walk? Okay. Uh, I've been working on a video about a concept that I've really struggled to articulate in a way that helps people understand. So I'm trying to put something together, and I went to explain something, and I messed up the take a bunch, and kind of had a break. Well, I had a breakdown, and I don't know. It happens, but I was trying to talk about the relationship between like trauma and being asexual, and I was really worried that I was gonna make any ace person feel invalidated. Like, there's nature and nurture components and all that. It doesn't really matter. I'm pretty new as a person. I don't really want to get into that right now, but I have been having experiences that I've never had before, and it makes me feel like maybe I'm not qualified anymore. But I don't know how to categorize it. It's all stuff I've never felt before, so I don't know what it is. And there's I mean, I have what I assume is libido now, like a hunger, and I, I think sometimes attraction. I don't know though. It's weird and fickle and extremely rare. It's just like this. I don't know. I don't know if I'm the way that I am because I've had exceptionally bad experiences, and you can make assumptions and they'd probably be correct. But I don't know if I was born like this because I've never. I'm not making any sense. I'm just trying to do justice to a concept and a topic that so many people in my life feel and understand, and I want to be. I want it to be okay that I'm doing it. I'm finally wading into things, and I mean, I did occasionally before, but I'm doing so in like a more real way, and every now and then I'm just feeling safe, and it's okay. But I guess it's okay to be gray. I I mean, I covered it previously. Of course, it's okay. It's just I need to use the same standard for myself that I do for everyone else. Maybe I shouldn't be trying to hit a bar now that the fear isn't all encompassing. We should get you out of here. I think we should go back.
here. All right. Let's finish up. Okay. Sound sync. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Controller. What am I missing? Pants. Shirt, pants. Okay. Alright.